All right, looks like today is Friday. A little chilly. I thought, well, I'd put up a video today. I wanted to get back to you might say the elephant in the room. It's still there. It's trying to handle problems in when you have a live chat going on. And usually the mods can do quite a bit. Matter of fact, the mods make a difference and can keep the creator from being distracted by having to look to make sure what's going on in the live chat, to make sure that there's not a lot of fighting amongst the people that are in there. And you have a lot of people that come from other channels that like to start trouble. And you have people that just like to start trouble, period. And all creators face it. And trying to keep it fair among the people that are listening to your videos. Under normal circumstances, where you don't have let's say a live chat going, it can, if anything, help your channel sometimes when you have somebody come in there that's a little negative, because then it draws in a lot of comments, and you all of a sudden, instead of having 20 or 30 in there, you might have 100 or 200 or 500, depending on your channel size. You can have thousands in there. Sometimes when it becomes a negative fight. But what I've seen a few times right now, there's a benefactor out there that does give away memberships, in different channels. He'll go in there and sponsor a bunch of them. And that kind of gets the people that are making comments pretty happy for the most part. And it makes the creator happy because the price of the memberships actually goes in their pocket. And it helps their channel. And everybody that has a channel has a certain amount of expenses, either when they're paying to get information or just the fact that trying to keep their computer up with different software that they might be using, their time itself that they're using on there. And the creator is supposed to kind of set what he expects or what she expects for what can or can't be discussed on there, I guess, if you want to put it that way. It can get a creator in trouble if there's a lot of swearing, or if it is against policy of YouTube, let's put it that way. It can stop the ones that are monetized, it can stop them from getting monetized. And most of us don't want that. I mean, obviously, we go to the channels because of entertainment, their entertainment value. I made a list here. It said, and this actually is more of what's going on kind of now, okay? Creator versus benefactor, and what about the subscribers? Now, we all know that most channels have what they call their bread and butter base, and that is your subscribers that come in, and they're, good people. They're backing you up in most cases, and they become your biggest benefactors. They're there to assist you in getting to whatever your goals are as a creator. So what happens when you do get a little bit of a disturbance in your, let's say you have a live chat going. Now when it's just in a regular video like this one here, you can go down through there and you can clip people off as you see that it might be demeaning in some way. Now for somebody like me, since I'm not monetized, there's no reason I have to put up with a lot of baloney, because subs aren't going to make my channel any enrichment of any. You know, the subs come for entertainment. I do my best to do that, and I enjoy having them in the comments most of the time. Some of them have very good comments. Some of them may not agree with me, but they make me think about what I'm saying. You know, in other words, it is constructive sometimes, where it'll get you to do some more investigating. And quite frankly, if it hadn't have been for that part of YouTube, I wouldn't have thought about the things that I do on here today. Okay. The big thing is, yeah, and number 2 I had on the respect for channel rules. And we all pretty well know when we go on somebody's channel, if we've been around them very long, what they expect out of us as far as respect. And then are the rules applied evenly? Because one of the hardest parts of running a channel is, how do you level out the field? Because no matter what kind of creator you are, you're going to have people that you think more of than others, and people you rely on, and a newbie comes along and starts violating the rules, you have the tendency to come down on them. And sometimes the people who have been around a while have the tendency to do the same thing. But yet, they may end up being a good subscriber. We don't know that until after they've been around a while. So most of the time we give them chances, if you will. And a lot of it has to do with the intent of the channel. My channel is here mainly for entertainment. Some of it's information. I do follow a lot of other channels, and some of mine is, well, most of mine actually is repeat from somebody else. When I tell a story about background or something like that, well, that's a little different. And most of the time that won't be as interesting to most of the people out there, because, well, quite a lot of people out there aren't from my generation. And so maybe some of the subjects I have won't make sense and will be of little interest. Let's put it that way. But the younger audience brings newer things, so most of the time their comments are interesting to me, because maybe I want to learn something that's coming up, okay? Or maybe I want to learn about another channel that they suggest. And then what about mods? What happens if you get a mod that gets a little crazy and has a bad day and starts getting rid of some of your people? That's not a good thing either. So I guess everybody has different ways of viewing things, and we all have our bad days and good days. Now, recently, for the people that, a lot of people that listen to this, you're looking at a lot of the channels that I do. And, you know, most of the bigger channels that I look at, not bigger maybe in size, but the ones that get out there quite a bit, you know, weekly or bi-weekly or whatever. And the number 1 channel I watch is Two Leaves in a Pod. And for good reason. It's because the information I get there is all backed up. It has the documentation, and the people that run it have a good heart. They're looking for the best interest of the people they may be talking about. They're fair when they get into a subject, and once they get into it, then they research it. And a lot of times they may lean towards one side or the other because of whether they're treated or how they feel about the subject matter. I watch Guapo. Guapo's a lot younger than I am, and very charismatic. But his channel is quite different than the rest of them, because he's actually into buying these lockers and you know, reselling what's in there. And you know, he's into other things. He's got a little bit of real estate going for him. And like I say, he's charismatic, so he draws a lot of people in. And he does draw in a young crowd because he's a young fellow. He just turned 30. Another channel I watch is Super Dave. I like Super Dave. His channel is very refreshing. He's a professional. When he does something, he does his research. He gives his views on it. And when he gives it out here, he gives it in his honest opinion. And the only thing he asks in his channel is that you respect his channel. He doesn't want to get demonetized for any reason. I can understand that. So he likes to follow the YouTube rules, and he keeps it clean, quite frankly. And he's come a long way. Another young fellow is Thomas Collins. Collins got picked on quite a bit a couple years ago by a creator we'll call Jeremy from What the Hells. Thomas was, I think he was served with a deceased letter, cease and desist. And for the most part, I'd say Thomas has pretty much said, hey, I don't need that. I've got my own content, and he went on and provided his own content that has nothing to do with What the Hells. Nothing. Now, he still gets bit from that guy. I'm not so sure why. I think that, Thomas is willing to move on. The other guy maybe not. PBR. I like to watch his channel. And he brings wisdom with his channel. He's not afraid to speak his piece. He's very opinionated. I agree with a lot of the things, and there's some of the things that he talks about that I don't know anything about, so I don't have an opinion on it. But I do like listening to him, and he's been very personable when he comes on my channel. And although he's quite a bit younger than I am, we still seem to have kind of a meeting of the minds on a lot of subjects. There's Robbie with Get Swamped. I like it when he chases those alligators down. He's a real pro, and he has a sanctuary for wild animals and alligators and crocodiles and snakes. And he's got some lemurs, and he's got a raven, African raven. Got a couple big Great Danes, one of them which has been sick, so pray for that Great Dane, if you will. It's very special to him. I think it swallowed a towel. Yeah, he must have been pretty hungry, huh? But as far as I know, the pup is doing fine right now. And I did see him on his show the other night. He was in the background with Z. And following Z about as close as you could get. He was touched. Z to walk, he would walk right with him. Or she, the pup I think is a female, but anyway, walking right with him. So very attached, and probably when they're not feeling that great, they want somebody within range of being able to reach out and pat them. Pet them and pat them. All right, well, I said I wanted to get kind of to the elephant in the room. And there's a benefactor out there, and most of the time he appears as only me or something to that effect. And his name, as far as we know, his first name is David. And he's come on to the different channels and has been generous to quite a bit as far as offering memberships. He gets in there and rolls the dice, if you will. He makes the live chat spin with the gifts that he gives, and sometimes he'll give a generous gift to the creator of the channel. And he's done that on numerous channels, by the way. And as he goes down through there, he extracts a certain amount of control. Now, somebody said, well, no gift comes without a string, and one of his comments are, what are the strings? Well, it's not necessarily what are the strings, but how does he react when somebody doesn't follow what he wants at the time? I got to set my earphones back up. Every once in a while, I hit this line there, and it pulls them down off my ears. These are just cheap. And sometimes he asks him to do some things, and he gets like drawing. Hey, isn't it time for a drawing? Or he gets going anyway. And every once in a while, if he's not too happy with one of the people that are in the comments, he'll make a comment about him. And I'm not saying they're nasty comments, but they get under your skin. But when he's doing it, the creator's busy talking, so here goes the comment out there. And then somebody will bite back, and then you get 3 or 4 of them involved very quickly to fight the situation. Going both ways, by the way, usually. Because he makes friends with the commenters by buying memberships. But when he doesn't like something that somebody has done, whether it's on their channel or anybody's channel, he'll make a comment wherever he finds them on another channel about that person. Here lately, one of the channels that I consider pretty friendly towards mine is Miyagi. And Miyagi, in general, has been good. And I had noticed the other night, apparently, I went back and looked at the channel, and Miyagi took some pretty good hits in there. And there were some people for and some against the things that were being said. Well, one of the things that I looked at was I went down through there, and this guy called Only Me, or David, if you will, was making little comments here and there, but not necessarily getting called out, not at least for all of them. Where Miyagi was getting called for each and every one that was made, including putting some dollar signs up there. And everybody knew what the intent of the dollar signs was, but it wasn't a big deal. It was like, okay, it's gone, forgotten, and all of a sudden here it comes. 5 or 6 minutes later, somebody makes a comment about it, and they penalized Miyagi multiple times during that chat. Now, the other guy, even though he was called out, and I think he was penalized once, maybe, but he was giving out gifts. And so it's the tendency of your commenter and even the creators to lean a little bit for financial benefits. And I'm not saying that was happening, but from a point of view, looking outside in, it could have very well been. When I looked at it, the comments that were made, to me, it looked like the one called Only Me, or David, started it. And then from there on in, the fight was on. Not terribly verbal, not nasty kind of stuff, but just jabs, okay? But once everybody in the chat became involved, then you had, like I say, some for, some against. Some were telling Miyagi to, quite frankly, shut up. And, the last straw, if I would have looked at it, was when Miyagi had put some dollar signs up there, and the meaning behind the dollar signs, we all know what it would be. And then 5 minutes later, all of a sudden getting berated for it. Meanwhile, there was already comments before that and after that from this David, the benefactor. So, and he's sneaky about how he does things, and he's very careful. He paves the road so that he can walk it without too much problem. And then he'll make these sly remarks, and everybody kind of lets him get away with it. But if somebody else makes a mistake of saying something and he calls them out, they go after the person that he calls them out on, and that's not just the channel from the other night that I went back and looked at because I never seen the whole channel in the first place, but I did later when I seen some of the remarks. Well, here's my policy. If I'm on somebody's channel, if I know they don't want me to talk about somebody on there, I won't do it. I won't talk about it. I might leave the channel because, quite frankly, if I see somebody like David picking on somebody else within that channel, which is common, by the way, almost every time he's on there, there's somebody that he will go after, that he's going to make remarks on. He thinks because of some of the, he would call it generosity, but I call it gifts with strings, because he expects certain personal respect to himself. And when you get in there and start making remarks about people, you have no respect coming. You know, you blow it, is what it amounts to. But, you know, I had talked to different people out there when this David came on their channels and explained to them that if they didn't want me there, because they said, I don't like that guy, because he tries to exert control. In other words, there's a gift, but it's not really a gift. He asks him to do something, he expects it to be done. The other thing was that when he was at his height of trying to control, he tried to control Lisa with 2 leaves in a pod, and had asked her to do something that at the time was near impossible to do, and then got pissed and started going on their channels and talking about her. And actually came back, and I don't know why, but he had gave a fairly decent gift on there one night in the chat, and then made sure everybody knew what he did, and then everybody's up and wondering why. You know, what's the game? And I don't know what the game is. I put it on another channel that I follow and listed it all, and then he said that, well, it is the behavior of somebody that might be narcissistic tendencies, because it's a way of controlling people with financial rewards, and that is one of the things that a narcissist does. But we don't know enough about him to see if that really is true. And I'm not, obviously, I'm not doctor. I'm not a doctor in psychology. But when I look at it and I see what to me looks like an intent to antagonize and separate, that's what I see as an outsider. Now, it's easy for me to look at it that way, because money is not my intent on here. No, my intent is strictly entertainment for me and also entertainment for you. I get entertainment back out of the comments a lot of times, and I try to give you something to comment on in the first place, and hopefully information. Now, this subject that I'm crossing over here, it's going to piss somebody off. You know, I try to be fair with everybody out there, and when I don't want to cross their lines that they put out there. It's not fair to them. They put a lot of time in to create something out there for entertainment, and it behooves me to behave myself if I'm there. And the same way when they come on my channel. In my opinion, I deserve to be able to say my opinion. The channels I named off, I enjoy each one of those channels, and that's why I usually say something. I'll shout out and talk about them or a little bit. And it doesn't mean that I like everything that they do, but for the most part, I'd say, hey, you know, I like the people. I like their personality. I think they all do a good job of creating their channels. This other person that's come in here in the last few months and stirred the pot, what's going to happen is he'll leave, and all his channels are going to be holding the bag. That's right. There'll be an empty bag, because you get used to having that financial reward, and all of a sudden it's cut off, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it more than you did when you were getting it. Let's put it that way. When the water stops running, you get awful thirsty. You take it for granted while it's coming out of the faucet, but when it no longer comes out, yep, you get thirsty. You go into a panic. Well, with a creator, what happens when you have a disturbance within your chat, you lose people. And depending on the size of your channel, how many can you afford to lose? And is it to the point where you'll never get them back? And sometimes you have to explain and say, look, I'm out here making a channel without finances. I can't continue. And so I give in a little bit. How much? I guess that's up to each creator. I've never really let money blind my moral values. There is a line, I think, that everybody gets up against. I don't know. I can tell you that over the years, I've lost out on a lot of times because it's almost like I've got my grandmothers, both of them, one on each shoulder, and when I get up to something like that, they're in my ear telling me, "That's not what we told you, Ray." And thank the Lord I listened to them most of the time. And they've kept me out of a lot of hot water over the years because of what they taught me in my young years. When I was really young, there wasn't a lot of kids to play with, but I listened to the adults all the time, and it was a lifetime habit of listening to my grandparents or my two grandmothers. They were very good, solid people. I can tell you, I miss them to this day. Their wisdom and the things that they taught me, and most of the morals came from them. They were God-fearing, church-going women, and had been all their life. I can't speak enough good things about them. So, and like I say, it's easy for me to say, hey, I can look past the money and not let it cloud my decisions. And right now, I can say that without a problem because I won't let money cloud my decisions. The one thing I can tell the creators out there that feel that somebody like this that comes in there deserves more respect than the people you already had there, money won't buy love or loyalty. It won't. It just won't. So if a guy is coming in there with gifts, the gifts are going to stop someday. I don't know when, but it won't last that long. It rarely does. People giving money away, they get tired of doing it. Once they have that control, and they have it for a while, they wear it out, and they go somewhere else so they can exert it again, because that's what it is. It's a control. And that's what they're doing to each person they're on there. And if you think about it, just sit back and look at it and say, oh, yeah, I see it. The only thing I can tell you, the live stuff where you have people in there, and this guy comes in visiting, the next day, when you're looking it over, look it over closely the next day. And look about, when you were saying something on here, you're distracted, what's going on over here on your chat? And you might get a little bit of eye-opening when you see it. And you'll see some lifelong or people that have been on your chats from the very beginning getting their feelings hurt. People say and do the wrong things sometimes. And sometimes you have to settle it in private through email or whatever. Sometimes you just have to get on here and give your opinion. Well, I've just about wore out this whole thing. And like I say, this was the elephant in the room. And it's on every channel out there just about, because you have people that are gift givers. And you have to look beyond the gift and see what the reason was. There are those out there that I call grifters. They'll do whatever it takes to get the gift, and then once they've got it, there's no second thoughts about it. They go on about their way, and till it's time for them to get some more gifts, and then they're right back on there, and they appreciate, and they treat the ones with the more money with bigger insights and more of, hey, how you doing today? That's what it amounts to. I hope I don't ever get into that situation where I need money that bad. I really do hope I don't. And as old as I am, I probably won't. And this thing, you know, who knows how much longer I could even do anything on here. Mentally, it could happen tomorrow that Alzheimer's sets in and I won't be able to turn this thing on even, much less understand what's going on in it. But I'm going to enjoy it as long as I can tell you that. So I think with that, oh yeah, and the one thing I wanted to get out there too is the fact that most of you don't only know me from when I was getting on here and I had talked about the Hales, and I'd also talked about Ms. Preston and Mr. Cook and their daughter, obviously. I tried to stay away from talking about the daughter early on. I think it's unfair to use her as a focal point in any way. I really do. I don't know how it's going to come back and bite that poor little girl someday when her peers get a hold of what's going on today. You know, how will she be treated any differently because of this controversy that's going on? It would be very unfair for anybody to be doing anything that would come back and bite her. So just be careful at how you treat that whole thing. Most of you know that I'm on the side of trying to help Lynette and John so that they can have a normal life, and I don't intend on changing that. David, you know, I seen in one of his comments that he didn't particularly care for Jeremy, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. If there was some previous, if they knew each other previously, if they, I don't know what that relationship is. And the people that are getting gifts out there right now that I'm aware of, the common denominator is Jeremy. And so if that being said, this benefactor, how does he really fit in there? Because the channels that have welcomed him in, he gets in there and stirs the pot, and there's always some fighting going on in the live chats. Now, the creators, I'm not going to say, some of them need or want the money. Do they really want to allow somebody to stir the pot continuously for them? Because it's obvious that that person, the only way you get him to stop is you have to just verbally say, I don't want that anymore, and he'll be gone. He'll take his gifts with him. He's the kid on the baseball field that takes the only ball home with him. He owns the only one. He grabs it, says, yep, either my way or the highway, and off he goes. Nobody can play baseball anymore. That is the attitude I get from this David. Maybe you see it from a different standpoint, and that's fine. And you're more than welcome to come on here and tell me how you feel about that and how it relates to you as a channel. I'm not telling you you have to by any chance. But if you feel like putting a comment down there, I'll at least read it, and I'll try to respond to it as long as it isn't hateful. If you come at me, blasting me out of the water, I won't repeat it, but I will get rid of it. Quite frankly, I don't have to put up with it, and you won't be helping my channel out by being some mean, you know what. So, well, anyway, shout out to Michelle and John and little Harley. I hope you're having a good day out there, and I didn't speak much about you, but certainly what I'm saying out here has to do with the channels that are around you. And I'm not here to discourage them in any way as far as trying to keep on going. What I'm trying to do is make it so that they don't sink the ship. And I'm certainly not the captain on that ship. I'm a bystander watching, okay? And that's it. Well, anyway, all of you guys and girls, you have a good day out there, and don't chew me up too bad after this is over. I'm just trying to give you the best advice I can. Don't let money blind you. It's not worth it. You can't buy friends, and you can't buy loyalty. So John, like you said, ta-ta, everybody.